In honor of the Super Bowl, we invited our friend James to play a game of Bowl Bound with us. This is the Avalon Hill Sports Illustrated game from 1973. Now that the game is done, we thought we would give our review after a full game here today on Legendary Tactics. All right, so we have just finished our first full game of Bowl Bound. So I was kind of the supervisor. I was running the referee, running the rules and the timer and all that stuff. But as players, what did you think, James? What was your thought on the game?
I loved it. Having played the other game. What's the other game we played last year?
Football strategy.
Football strategy. I know you have to keep reminding me of
that.
Yeah,
I know.
It was a year ago. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed football strategy because, you got to be the play caller and calling the plays. And this game is similar in that way. You're calling the plays, but the dice roll add that little level of randomness to it, which I kind of like, because sometimes you don't make that play.
Exactly. Yes. I felt like it followed the football, like what happens in, in real life football a little more accurately that way.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that little random. And you know what? And if you had asked me last year playing the other game, I would have said, no, I like, this play against this play, what matches up. Right. But the dice roll is kind of cool. I enjoyed it like that. And I like the football strategy. There was some asymmetry because you could pick 3 different teams, if I recall.
Yeah, it was play styles. It was play.
Oh, there's a pile of.
Oh, there was a pile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one has a pile of teams, 60 of them.
60 on this one.
On this and the tabletop app we're using. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like that asymmetrical, feel. Like the team I played had a totally different feel than the team you played.
And what I really liked was your team really had your team's focus was running. I noticed that towards the end of the game, and I think it took a little while for you to kind of catch on to your
about
strength of your running game.
Yeah, 3/4 of the game.
Yeah, and by the end of it, you were like actually running the ball down my throat, right? And,
I don't know, a little bit, but not a lot.
When you weren't turning it over, exactly,
or flubbing plays or getting. What would you roll? You the B. What's the B? Breakout. You get all the breakout
plays. Yes.
Oh my God! Interception with a breakout.
Well, when you call the blitz like 10 plays in a row.
I did. Because it was working because I was rolling a lot of 3s on the defensive die, and I can't remember what the frequency of that was. And so I was hitting -1, -2s a lot and stopping the play, so it kind of worked.
Yeah.
And I was trying to stop against You did a great job, Cax, of not randomly, but you would pick the moment to drop back. You'd pick the right moment, and I would not see it come. You pick it at a weird time. It might be like, first and 10 or second and 3.
Exactly. Normally it would be an easy running play, right? But let's drop back on you.
Yeah,
that's right.
And the other thing was you did the line plunges at the weirdest. You'd be like,
I know
2 and 7 line plunge.
Some of that was just to chew up some time.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. But it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Let's line them all up.
Why is line plunge? You got 80 yards to gain here.
Your defensive coordinator really a head scratcher.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Exactly. And I'm blitzing at that moment, right? Well, the funny thing about that is if you were, imagine what that would look like in a real game. Because if you're doing a line plunge, it's pretty obvious. And your other guys are in like nickel or something, and you're ready to bring all the guys on a blitz. It was just like, what's going on right now? So I guess that would be maybe not a con in the game, but certainly you get some weird matchups you would never see in real life because the defense would shift to something different, right?
Right. They would react accordingly.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you think of the play calling mechanic of like the cards and I
like that. Put your card on the table and reveal.
Right.
And then kind of do the matchup.
Flip and away you go.
Yeah. What'd you think of it? Like that?
I think playing, this is one instance where playing the digital version took longer, does take longer than playing it hard. Like if we play on tabletop,
it is a 60-minute
I think we could have probably cut about half the time out.
Yeah. It has a 60-minute playtime on the box. so to
See,
speak.
that would be perfect, actually. And honestly, this game is meant for football fans. Like, if you didn't know football, you weren't going to learn it through this game.
No,
very good point.
But I could imagine on like a few guys, 3 aside or 2 aside, okay, let's do this play, and then putting the card down or revealing the card. I'm like, oh yeah, kind of screaming and shouting, and I mean that would be a lot of fun to play with a small group, or even one-on-one.
Or what about a league?
You have to know football because the game actually really only exists in your mind.
Yeah.
The board itself, the sticks, the football, you're just kind of keeping track of things.
That's a bit of a visual,
reminder. It's a mental game, and that's fine. If you're a football fan, that's it. In reality, you're never going to have. Now, I've never played Techno Bowl, which I would like to see. Because I hear good things about it. That's Techno Ball, the board game.
Mobile,
the board game,
Nintendo game.
Yeah. Apparently you can kind of work out little offenses and defenses.
Interesting.
With players.
Well, that might be next year's game then. We'll have to do that one.
Maybe. but I mean, one of the things, because it's happening in your head, I think that kind of makes it exciting. Like when I called a blitz, I was imagining, 6 rushing, or if we're dropping back, I pictured my quarterback falling back and just launching the Hail Marys.
Exactly.
In that way, it's cool. But
it might be fun to play a league with this, or a season where you pick a team and you've got to play out a whole season, with 4 or 5 other people. That could be really fun.
And I was even
round robin, and yeah.
Well, and I was even picturing it was to take a lot of work to do, almost like a. What would you call, like a deck building system where you could draft players and those players would bring you a certain number of points, and then you could use those points to modify the game chart in front of you. Like I can just see it being this almost like you're almost like a deck building where you're creating like a Magic, where you create or a net runner. You create this team based on these. I could see it being like that would be incredible.
Yeah,
that would be
kind of cool. Imagine?
That would be kind of cool.
Imagine if you set up a whole league and you had the NFL in on this or some other football. I mean, I would do CFL, and you could buy these packs and get players, and then oh my god, it would be incredible.
Build it up. That could some pretty neat opportunities there. Yeah.
So if anybody out there listening
is
doing that, I get.
There's royalties.
I get
to
a
James.
Piece of that. Absolutely.
And he's also in.
Yeah, that's right. I will also play that game any day of the week. It sounds amazing.
Cax, what did you like best about it?
I really liked the play calling. I found there was some nice quiet tension, especially like you pick your plays and then you roll your dice and then you're just hoping that your opponent, whether offense or defense, is not going to like bust one out on you, or is not going to pick your pass, or is not going to, and it was like every single play, you just weren't 100% sure it was going to go the way you wanted to. And I thought that was really well done in this game.
Yeah. And that's what I think
there is a big bluffing aspect in this game, eh?
Yeah.
Like trying to outthink your opponent, and you got me so many times with it dropping back when I wasn't expecting it, or a running play. I mean, that's phenomenal.
But that's where I think this game is the evolution of football strategy, because that had that element before where you outguessed someone, but as far as your play matching or mismatching, but this, because of the die roll, it kind of gives it that uncertain element. You can blitz against someone dropping back, but it doesn't mean you're going to actually get what you think.
What did you think, Nito?
Yeah, I thought the matchups were really neat. The only thing that I found kind of interesting or whatever is having all the blank spaces on the defense. Sometimes it felt like, oh, okay, well, you're kind of at the mercy of the other team that way, but I think overall the breakdown of how it works, once you figure out the system, because as I think I said before, it was nice having you guys there, knowing football. I mean, I know football reasonably well, but you guys know it, oh, there was a foul, so, or penalty, sorry. So,
right, sure.
That's, we replay the down. I wouldn't have been sure about that. So.
Like James had mentioned earlier, you have to know football going into this game. You can't be trying to learn it off this game.
No.
Yes. Exactly. So
I wanted to shift now a little bit to some of the negatives, and I've got two that I wanted to bring up with you guys and see what you think.
Sure.
The first one is I think the spit and polish on this game is lacking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just doesn't, it's serviceable, but it doesn't, it's not over the top awesome. Like I think, and I think that's just reflective of the 1970s, right? Like that's a game from the 70s.
Yep.
Do you mean in terms of design, or
yeah,
do you mean
I'm talking look
as well?
Components, look,
Yeah, sure,
feel to it.
Sense.
It just doesn't sing like some of the other games, like say, that I've come across, more recent games, let's say.
Yeah.
Do you think it could look good? Like, do you think if they took it, didn't change anything about it except the looks of it?
I think like a digital scoreboard, like for example, because I really found tracking a bit tedious with the little first. I love the idea of the sticks, but I just found the sticks to be awkward, and the board, at least on our digital version, so tiny to maneuver, and forgetting is the ball, the nose of the ball, the back of the ball, so just those little things kind of just made it a bit clunky for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and I'm not sure this game was made in the 70s, so obviously these teams are reflective of that, but playing it in the 2020s, it's you're looking backwards like 50 years. So you really aren't, unless you're a diehard football historian, you are not knowing the 1940 Sanford Cardinals that well, right?
True.
Well,
you can see the potential in this game. Now, I've never played. What is it? Stats Pro Stats.
What's
that
football?
one? Yeah, I've never played that. I'd love to play that.
That
but they're good at.
We played the baseball, which is awesome, actually.
Oh, is it?
The baseball.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I work with plays. He said you'd love it.
Yeah.
Now, I could imagine if they resurrected this game and every year they publish teams that you can buy.
Yeah.
I could see people I'll buy that team. I'll buy the Chiefs this year or last year's Chiefs or whoever. I'm playing it that way. And then if they crunch the numbers and made it reflective of what the league is currently doing, what's happening in football, because that's the great thing about football. It's always changing. It's always evolving as it goes. It's going back and forth, from different styles of play, and what worked yesterday doesn't work today, and what didn't work yesterday all of a sudden starts to work again, because things shift. And if they started publishing this and started publishing teams, I don't know, man, I'd be really tempted to get into it. Now,
a classic example of that, James, is this last Super Bowl that we just had, the Eagles versus the Chiefs, right? Chiefs, a run and gun team. You got a bang quarterback, right? They're all about airing it out. And then you have the Eagles, who are like, we're going for it on fourth down every single
all
time.
the time,
right?
It's so cool.
And like, isn't that all, like there's the dichotomy right there, right? So like
totally
those two teams, right? So like working those kind of teams into an updated series, phenomenal idea.
That would be a heck of a lot of fun. I would totally play that. Now, I'll tell you what, I would 100% rather play this in person. On a table with the component and just be right into it.
Yeah.
Like, again, man, that would be great.
Yes.
Wear my jerseys,
it would play fast, and it would be fast and furious, especially now that you know the game system.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And to see that card come out, you flip your card, the other guy flips his card, you're like, I flipped.
But then it's also the die roll, right? Then you're not done there.
Too. Yeah, that's right. You don't know.
You still have the chance to upend the play, or
that's right. Even if you're doing line plunges at first and 10, gives a chance to make it go.
I had some options for a 9-yard scamper or a breakout with a line plunge.
Exactly, totally.
I think
so. Any drawbacks for you, James?
Some of the drawbacks are on my pros list. Like, the game is entirely mental. That's a drawback for people who aren't into football. Like, you'd have to find a football fan to play this with.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I think that the other thing was, and I got hosed by this, is the balance. Your team crushed me. And I felt you were better in the asymmetry there. But that's also a pro. Yeah. Because you don't want the same team playing each other. You want different teams. So I'm not sure that's entirely a con. I didn't really consider the components too much, but I agree with you. This game, man, if they refresh this game and have a sweet board
in this game,
oh man, it would be like an instant buy for me. I
Yeah.
think.
Nice.
I think it would be, because it was a lot of fun. But then again, you know what? It would probably sit on my shelf and not get to me, because I can't think beyond you guys who live 3 hours away.
Who's
I
playing
can't think
it?
of anybody. Maybe a couple guys around here, but I mean, oh man, it is fun.
Yeah.
And now you get this game. I mean, besides eBay and the off prints, nobody's making this anymore, right?
No one's. No, this has been out of print for a while.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Status Pro is still being made, I suppose. And I mean, I'd like to see how that goes.
It
Maybe
has
that would scratch all the
fan-made
right.
stuff. Well, even in this module, they do have some fan-made
Really,
stuff. Yeah, there's the 2008 Gators, 2005 Texas. What do we got? Texas Longhorns. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So there are still some fans that are doing at least some.
Oh, that's cool.
Like that.
I'd be interested to see how they do that. You know, the one thing about this game too is I don't know college football that much.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's
right?
another potential drawback, right? Like,
Yeah.
you also have to know college football.
There is an NFL version of this game called Pay Dirt, and I'll see if I can find it for next time. But it's the same game. It just is NFL.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
There might be
that'd be fun.
there,
I would. Oh my god, I would play that.
But I'm also and you never know. Maybe there'll be some fan-made teams of more recent vintage. So
yeah,
I mean, if they balance them well, because I feel like whoever made this game put the time in to balance the teams.
Yeah,
make them look like.
Yeah.
Anything from your end that you caught? And I know you were just you were the getting everything coordinated, the adjudicator
so I was the
here,
administrator,
but yes, the referee. But what was your from the bird's eye view there?
Well, the only flaw that I see in it is the symbols and that sort of thing, because you roll the dice and you're like, oh, QR, what's that? And then you have to look it up.
Right.
And I'm sure that goes away after a couple games. I found it getting a lot better as the game went on. Also, the priority chart, I understand why it's there. It's a little bit clunky. It's not the most elegant of mechanics, but I understand why it's there. But it is takes a little bit of getting used to, and it can seem very intimidating up front, because you just see all these numbers and symbols. You're like, F+12, what's that? Right. So that, other than that, if you know football and you get into the symbols, and the shorthand, then it's fine. It runs well. But that's the only flaw for me. And aside from the fact that, as I said, sometimes the defense was like, all white, there's no red there. Just like, you're not pushing the other team back at all. I don't know how much fun it is to play that defense. I guess you're just at the whim of your opponent. You're trying to get,
or you're not picking that defense very much, right?
Yeah. That kind of thing. So,
and that brings to mind another con, and maybe I mentioned this before, is some of the weird combination of plays that we were doing, like line plunges on, 2nd and 8, or
downs,
blitzing all 50. The time. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Like that wouldn't happen in a real game, because it would be pretty obvious when the offense came out and they lined up in formation that they were doing a line plunge, and so you don't have a sense of what the offense is doing or the defense is doing.
Yeah,
and that's a whole layer in real football.
You can't really imitate here.
And I don't know how you would imitate that, unless you had 5 standard setups, and you play, okay, I'm going to line up like this. And so, okay, the offense is doing this. That means they could be doing these things. And maybe that's too much fiddliness.
Yeah, it might be a bit too much for the game.
Could be. But that is missing in the game.
Yes.
That kind of fun, like trying to, okay, they're doing this. I think they're going to do this. We're going to counter with this.
Yeah.
Right.
But, which happens in real football.
Yeah.
but besides that, I still had a lot of fun. I played this a bunch of times. Would I still like it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question too, right? Yeah, we played it once, and the allure is still fresh, but maybe if you played it 5 times, would you still want to?
Yeah.
But man, it would look good on a table.
There's always the puzzle of there's always the puzzle of figuring out the different team, though. And with tabletop, if you've got 60 teams to work with, that's a lot of figuring out to do. So
yeah, that's true. if you didn't do your scouting ahead of time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, hope this review helped you. I don't know if anyone's buying this game anymore, but at least trying this game,
or if it's on the shelf and you've been wondering what that's all about.
if you
crack
had
it open
from years ago, or you're discovering it on Tabletop Simulator, we hope this little review gave you some insight. So thanks so much for watching.
This has been Legendary Tactics.